Macca's Guides.
Hey guys, Macca here. Welcome to my 100% full game walkthrough for Rememoried. You'll notice how long the video is, and that is how long it takes us to earn 1000 Gamerscore. All of the Gamerscore in this game is completely progressional, so feel free to play it on your own, although it'll probably take you around 2 to 3 hours on your own, whereas this video is going to be clocking in around 30 minutes. It is a first-person game without the option to invert your controls, so if you're an inverted player like me, you'll have to use the Xbox Accessories app in order to trigger that manually and not in the game. Now, like I said, it's a first-person game. It's kind of like a puzzle game, and you'll steer your controls as normal by walking with the left stick, looking with the right stick. For the first level, just locate the post and follow the direction it's pointed to towards your objective. Everything in this game is random, although the way you complete each level is the same. None of the levels are going to look the same or act the same every time for anyone. Alright, on the second level, we'll have a tree directly in front of us and a whole bunch of rocks. And this is kind of the main mechanic of the game, is this remembering stuff. And to do that, what you'll have to do is spin around, and then stuff will shift and change. And you need to use this mechanic in order to make progress through the game. So for example, these rocks, I had to spin around and then keep spinning until I had a pattern of rocks that I was happy with that would get me progress towards the tree at the top. Now, I can make my way halfway up, and then I can just continue spinning until the rest of the rocks are kind of in the right location, and I can finally make my way up to that final tree. Once I make my way to the tree, that's the end of level 2, and you can keep spinning and spinning until you get the proper alignment of the rocks you need. For the third level, you have to walk forward and use the constellations on the ground and make sure you don't fall in between the dark spaces where there's not a lot of stars underneath your feet. For some puzzles, you can get really lucky and you can spin one time and get the exact solution you need, although for others, it's going to be a lot more difficult. Stand at this bench here, and you'll notice the stairs. Above the stairs, there's this platform, and you need to spin around until that platform is landed directly at the bottom of those stairs. Sometimes it'll take one spin, sometimes it'll take 30. And there we go. And now we're going to jump across the platforms, making sure not to take our vision off of the stairs and the gem. Walk forward into the gem to complete that level. Level 1, 2, and 3 all offer achievements to be unlocked. However, I already had them, so you don't see them showing up on screen. Alright, for this level, we need to ascend and go up. And to do that, we'll use these platforms and just keep spinning until more platforms are generated that we can use to get further up. The black platforms and the white platforms kind of all respawn and move based on your turns, so there's not like a specific method here. Just keep spinning until you can you know, go up. And this looks like a decent way to get up here. And as you get up, you should notice a platform with a ladder on it, and that is our objective. However, it does move as we spin, although it doesn't move too much. It is usually somewhere near the top middle of the map, and we just need to keep rotating. I got pretty lucky here. This is kind of as fast as I've ever done it. But you kind of just keep rotating and keep moving until you get the platforms you need in order to reach this platform right here with the ladder. Sometimes the last spin is the hardest. So these spins should work. Kind of want to keep your eye on the stuff you want, or else once it disappears, you know, it doesn't really come back all the time. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes it takes 30 spins to get what you need, unfortunately. Let's see if we can jump up here. Yep, and then once we get to the ladder, that's the end of level 4. For level 5, move backwards at the beginning, away from that smoke. And then as soon as you switch to this screen coming up in a second here, any minute now, there we go. Just walk forward. Always walk, never stop. And what we're looking for is like a gear in the horizon, like you see right in front of me. And there's gears all over. You can pick really any gear, and you'll see these kind of spikes coming across it, so it looks like a sun or a star. And what we need to do is walk into that cog or that gear. The only thing we need to watch out for are these white embers that are flying around. They can kill you, and they will restart the level. However, they're very easily dodged. As long... Whoa, that one actually got way closer than any of them I've ever gotten. They're very easily dodged as long as you keep moving at all times. And you can move through the buildings in this level, so don't worry about like walking around them or getting lost or anything. Just locate a giant cog in the sky and walk towards it. Once we kind of enter it, it'll be the end of the level. There are a couple of achievements that won't be showing up on screen, and later on in the game they will be showing up on screen. But as long as you're completing the levels, you'll be unlocking everything, so there's really nothing to worry about. For this level, all you need to do is locate the post again, and then follow the direction the post says. Make sure you are always moving or always looking around. If you stop moving, the level will fail. So the post will be pointing towards a light, and underneath that light is a giant couch or sofa. Once you reach that sofa, this is the end of this level. Now, once you spawn in this level, you'll spawn floating in a cube of stars, and our goal is directly above us. There's a glowing white object. We need to get to that object using these cubes. And obviously, you'll kind of always float through the cubes, and you'll always float to the top of the cubes. You want to transfer from cube to cube while you have momentum carrying you upwards. That'll kind of prevent you from falling. And again, these cubes are going to be completely randomly laid out. So eventually, like you see here on screen, this might happen to you right away or much later on, you'll reach a cube with no other cubes to get you to the top. And once that happens, all you want to do is spin around until the cubes are in, laid out in a more favorable fashion. And for me, I don't know how many spins this is going to take me. I'm doing this live, but it seems like this cube is slightly higher. So I'm going to transfer to this cube. And then we're going to transfer through to this cube. This cube seems like it's going to take us the highest. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I'm close enough to the building on the top where I can basically like transfer over onto it. Yeah, I should be able to kind of transfer through all of these items. You want to make sure you don't get too much momentum carrying you downwards, because that's when you can fall. And if you fall and you don't get caught in another cube, you will eventually die. So just gonna keep spinning until we can get a cube of stars here that's kind of right next to us. And once we can float into the glowing white object, do that to finish that level. Now for this level, you'll spawn like this, move a little bit forward, and you can turn around and notice that there's kind of a secondary moon behind you, as well as a chess piece directly at your feet. But what you want to do is kind of look in front of you and look at these pieces in order to spot the queen here. And he'll say queen logic, and that's your cue that you can now move on into the ruins. And what you want to do is move through the ruins, and every now and again, you want to turn around and look behind you and then continue forward. Your goal is to continue into the ruins, but spin around every 5 or 10 seconds. What you're looking for is in front of you, you're looking for a speck of white that will be a mask on a life-size queen piece. Additionally, there should be an orb flying in the sky directly above that queen piece. This can take anywhere from a minute to 2 minutes. It's not going to happen too quick, and sometimes the orb gets kind of hidden in the darkness of the sky. So just keep walking forward, keep spinning around, keep looking into the ruins to try to spot that queen mask. Again, it's a life-size piece of a queen from the chess, and then it has like a ghost mask on it, and you can see the orb sometimes. So that's the orb, and directly under that orb is where the queen will always be. It's going to be in a completely random and different place for everybody every time you do this. The orb is just a really good indicator of where they'll be, but sometimes you get a little you actually get a little luckier looking for the queen without the orb. So you can kind of shift left to right to make sure you're going to be approaching in the right direction here. And as you approach, you should be able to see it. This one's actually one of the harder ones. But you'll see the queen piece with the mask on it, approach it, and that's the end of that level. The next level requires us to follow this orb around. And this orb will kind of keep moving, but we want to get inside of the orb. And it might take us 2, 3, 4 tries. You can do it in 1 try as well. But you just kind of want to get inside of the orb. You want to get into it right as it's kind of turning around. It'll make your screen all white, and that'll go to the next level. For this level, from where you're starting, turn around and look behind you, and that's where you want to go. You can walk forward using this platform, but if you spend too much time on the platform will kill you. So you have to kind of cycle on and off the platform. So you can see I'm spending 50% of my time on the platform, and then 50% of my time off the platform. As I continue walking forward, I'll notice a chandelier and a sofa directly in front of me, and that means I'm headed in the right direction. As I reach that sofa, this level will complete. Next up is the Kaleidoscope level, and what you want to do is rotate left and right. Don't look up or down yet. And rotate left and right until you spot a cube of stars. Right there is my cube of stars. It's a little bit hard to see, but after you spot it, you now want to look up and down to bring them apart from each other so that the tips of them are kind of barely touching, as you can see on my screen, and then walk towards this cube. Inside of the cube, there is a mask, and you basically want to get into the cube as both pieces of the mask kind of come together, and you just saw it on the screen there. I approached it without looking directly at it, but that's what that is. For this level, we need to make our way to the house. Behind us, there is not a house, so you kind of know which direction you want to go, and there's these cog pieces, and you can jump. When there's one cog missing, you should be able to easily make the jump. However, if there's 2 cog pieces missing, the jump will be too far for you, and what you'll need to do, I'll show you right here actually, because the problem's going to come up for me. So I can't make this jump. So I'm just going to spin around 360 degrees, and hopefully more cogs spawn. If they don't, keep spinning until they do. And that's all we need to do for this. Just keep walking towards the house, jumping in between 1-piece gaps, and then spinning around for any gap that is wider than that. At the end here, you should be able to just kind of jump into the house. And once you do that, that's the end of that level. If you want to do a quick achievement check, we're at 700 out of 1,000. Next up, we're going to spawn in this room of spheres and half spheres. And what we need to do is make our way up to the top where there is a bright white light. And you need to just use these spheres and half spheres in order to traverse our way up. Now, you might get really lucky, and sometimes when you're going through a sphere, you'll kind of get trampolined up into the sky. And sometimes you'll just get really lucky and basically make your way all the way to the light like that. And that's how you can do it really easily. However, sometimes you will need to actually kind of use the domes and use the spheres in order to make your way to the very top. Now, this next level can be one of my least favorite levels in the game, but if you know what you're doing, it's actually quite easy. In front of you, there's going to be rocks and white platforms, and those are going to move if you spin around in circles. And then you'll have to use the platforms and the rocks in order to make your way all the way across the map where you can see a flower kind of directly in front of me. However, there is a small cheat here, and that is to fall directly into the kind of white stars that shoot out from the flower, and then you'll be able to simply just walk towards it. What a trick is that? Sometimes you'll need to spin in order to get some rocks to change, though. And yeah, you can literally just kind of fall under the map here and walk towards the flower if you're within the stars. You're supposed to use the white platforms and the rocks and spin around in order to make your way here, but that's way easier. Now, for this level, you'll spawn, and there is a song playing in the background, and you're looking for where this song is coming from. You can use a good headset to try to find the location of the song, or if you're a little bit lazy like me, you can actually just pause the game, press load, and get lucky with a spawn where the cabin is going to be somewhere directly in front of you, like, for example, right here. And you'll notice a large white door, and that's where the music will be originating from. So go towards this door, but we can't go into the cabin. What we'll want to do is go around back and locate the stairs. Sometimes the cabin will be oriented in a different direction, so you won't see the door. But go up the back stairs, go into the room, and stand near the gramophone and the sofa. And then you can leave and go through the front door where it'll spawn you to the next level. For this level here, what you want to do is as soon as you spawn, you kind of want to walk around and keep rotating your camera and just keep waiting, and eventually you'll spot a large pillar with some white stairs on it, as you can see right there. And that pillar has a moon at the top. It's going to be in a random location, and it's only going to spawn after you move around the map a little bit and keep spinning. You'll probably notice the glowing white staircases next to it before you notice the pillar itself. What we need to do is use these staircases to get to the top. So sometimes you'll get really lucky, and this actually seems like a decent layout for me. And sometimes you'll get very unlucky, and you'll sit here and you'll spin around for like 20 minutes in order to try to get the right staircases to spawn. You can try to use the kind of center of the rock, but I wouldn't recommend it. It usually doesn't work out very well. Again, just keep spinning, keep kind of transferring from staircase to staircase. Sometimes staircases will disappear. Try to keep your eye on a staircase if you'd like to have it remain up. And just keep trying to work your way upwards to the top of the pillar where the moon is. Once you're able to reach the moon and touch it is when the level will end. If you're very impatient, you can try climbing the rock in the center. It does work, but it's a little finicky, and it did work for me right there. So that's how you can kind of skip a little bit of those puzzles if you want. For this level, what you'll do is you'll spawn inside of like a dome or a half sphere of lights. You'll want to get out of it. And then once you're outside of it, look into the sky, scan the sky for a windmill that's just floating somewhere, anywhere. There's the windmill. And then directly below it, you'll notice a blue flower. I think it's a rose. And then you'll walk into it in order to complete the level. Now, this level is very hard to explain. Well, it's very easy to explain, actually. So basically, you spawn near a bench, and you have to find a blue rose. There's no real easy way for me to point you to that rose. I think it's somewhat random. All I would recommend is kind of just like looking into open areas, jumping around to try to see over bushes and stuff. And usually the roses will spawn next to some light poles, kind of open in the middle of an area, and you could pretty easily spot the rose from a good distance away because it does stick out pretty well. If you get lost or you don't really know where to go, I would just recommend pausing the game and then pressing load, and then it'll spawn you back at the beginning. But essentially just kind of keep doing circles, keep looking for a blue rose that spawns somewhere near some light poles, and when you do spot it, just step into it. Here it is, and that'll spawn you on to the next level. I don't think it's in the same place every time, though. It doesn't seem like it, at least to me. For this level, all you need to do is follow the orb on the ground, which is playing a violin. And if you're close enough, the level will continue. The violin song in the background will continue. However, if you get too far, your screen will start to fade to black and you'll lose. As long as you can stick with this orb here for the full song, which is about 2 minutes long, you will get to the next level. And we're almost at the end of the game, actually. So all you need to do is stick with this orb. I would highly recommend a decent headset because you can really tell which direction the orb is in with a good headset. So just make sure you're close enough that you don't start fading to black and lose. And just keep doing this for about 2 minutes until the song fades completely out. At that point, the level will end automatically. You probably want to try to keep like a medium distance to this orb, by the way. If you get too close to it, it can be really hard to tell if it went left or right. But a medium distance, you can always adjust more easily than if you're right up next to it. Just don't let it get too far away from you, or else you can really start to struggle when your screen starts to fade, similar to how mine was just doing there. Once the song's done, just walk into that orb. All right, so now we're at 900 out of 1,000, and this is the last level. I would recommend that you're always moving with the left stick and always looking around with the right stick, and just keep moving around and keep looking around. And as you do that, dialogue will be generated kind of at the bottom of the screen there. There will be voiceovers and stuff happening. And once you do this for about 2 minutes, the game will end. Your screen will fade to white or black, I forget. And you'll unlock your, I think it fades to black and then to white. And then your game will end. You'll get the credits. You'll be brought back to the main menu. And you'll also get the last achievement in the game. I will play it out for you guys here, but for the commentary part of it, I will be done. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to drop a like on this video. Share this video with a friend. Special shout out to the amazing people on Patreon who do support the channel. Without people on Patreon, covering a game like this is simply not viable for a YouTube channel. You know, there's not a lot of people who are willing to spend $15 to play a game like this just for Gamerscore. And, you know what? So I'm truly grateful to the people who do support on Patreon and let me kind of have a little bit of that creative freedom and flexibility and make the videos I want to make and the videos I think you guys will like. And that includes these full game walkthroughs for some of these easy indie games that aren't necessarily the best. Again, once this level's done, keep moving, keep looking around. The game ends, and that's going to be 1,000 out of 1,000. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I see you in the next video. Peace.